What's up, makeup minions? I'm Kim Witte from Witte Artistry, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, but today is a very special video sponsored by Skydance Media. I decided to turn into the Rev-9 Terminator from the new Terminator Dark Fate movie. Let's get into the tutorial. If you like me and like my videos, it would mean the world to me if you became a sponsor on my Patreon page. By the way, if you haven't seen Terminator Dark Fate, it is in the theaters. It came out November 1st, and it is epic. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's bringing back the vibes from Terminator 2, which in my opinion, and a large population of the fan base agrees, that Terminator 2 is one of the best Terminators. So seriously, go see it, it's awesome. All right, so I wanted to create the new Rev-9 design, which is when you have the endoskeleton robot, and it's surrounded by a liquid metal tissue. So I am going to be creating damaged areas where the liquid metal has spread out and is actually showing the skeleton underneath, and also creating the ripply, metally effect and the pushed away skin. So for that effect, I decided I wanted to do it on my shoulder mainly, a bullet hole in my chest, and half of my face. I am using a silicone sculpting gel. This is 3rd degree silicone, so I just mixed up part A and part B on a palette, and I'm going to be sculpting it on my face in a really organic way. It kind of looks like waves, like how the foam bubbles up on the sand and sort of creates little mounds and pushes out away from itself. That is what I'm going to be replicating on the edges of the spots where the metal is smushed up. Basically, I am creating big clumps on my chin. I wanted to make sure I had that silhouette so you can actually see like little flaps of skin are falling off of the face. Well, technically they're metal, but I am building it up really nice on my forehead and on my chin. I also have one of my eyebrows blocked out because that's going to be all, you know, Terminator robotified. Using my eyebrow pencil, I'm drawing in the outline of the face, and I found this epic jacket at Goodwill. Distressed the crap out of it, removed one arm because the Rev-9 Terminator has this cool liquid metal blade. I wanted to do that for sure. And I am filling in what was originally going to be my plan for the shoulder, but I ended up changing it later, so I'm just gonna skip over that part. But on to the face. I am filling in all of the pieces and parts with gray body paint. I am primarily using a mixture of Mayron and Wolf for this look. Fill in the eyebrows, fill in the cheeks, fill in the jaw. Even if everything is getting painted the same color in the beginning, I still like to fill it in by section just because it's easier for me to keep track of where stuff's supposed to go as the makeup progresses, you know? All right, then with a darker gray, I am going to start going along the edges of the ripped pieces of the face. This is where the shadows are created, where the metal is bunching, and it's going to create a dip in the flesh. So that's what I'm doing now. And I'm adding some silver to the actual silicone. You can paint on silicone with alcohol activated makeup, cream makeup, or even water activated makeup, which is what I decided to do since that's what I was using on my body anyway. For the little bullet hole, I'm creating the same effect. So put down a mid-tone of gray, and then I'm going to be creating the dark gray around the edges, and then slowly adding some ripples of light gray to create the highlights. On the face, make sure you're following a reference image. Just honestly follow a reference image from the film as much as you can. The robot part is very detailed and fairly complicated, but it does mimic the human bone structure, so just keep that in mind. So I'm outlining all the pieces and parts with that darker gray. And like I said earlier, I did mess up the shoulder, and I wanted the shoulder to be totally killer because the mechanisms for the new Terminator robot's arms look so cool. And I just had this really nice exposed shoulder, and I wanted to get the biggest amount of detail with the rippling metal, and I created like the most epic little metal flap, so I had to show it off, right? So with that dark gray, I am going along the high points of the metal flaps I created, doing the same thing on the face. Make sure you're doing it in a dabbing texture, because as the metal bunches up, it creates all these little dimples and ripples and stuff as it smushes together. Then I'm also creating some artificial wrinkles, as in it doesn't have the silicone, just because I wanted there to be more of a transition on the shoulder from the actual ripples to, you know, just the shoulder. There's gotta be a transition. So I'm putting down the mid-tone, dark tone near the center hole where it would sort of disappear into the cavity, and then adding a highlight on the top part of the wave, which is really obvious where it goes on the parts with the silicone, but it's a little more difficult on the parts without it. But seriously, look at the reference images from the movie, and also look at waves, little foamy piles of stuff. It was a really good reference image for this. I'm going to be going back and forth from all of the areas where I'm creating this rippled effect and just sort of adding more texture, more ripples, and more highlights, because this is metal, so it's going to be metallic looking. It's going to have a major shine to it. So now I'm adding the white to the tops of these ripples and creating little more ripples in transition on my forehead, because I didn't like how 50-50 my face was. I like to have a little bit of asymmetry when I do designs, just because I think it's a more engaging looking concept, you know? So, building up the paints, I am adding some highlights to the ripples, and now I'm going to start shading the head. There are a lot of dips and details to this robot, so I'm adding a darker gray to create the drop shadows, where it's sort of disappearing back into the skull underneath the metal skin, and then blending it out. Anywhere there's a piece that meets another piece, there's always going to be a shadow, just because there's a dip where they meet. And now I'm correcting my shoulder. I wanted to make sure that there was some of the piping shown. It's like tubes or piping that the robots have. Wanted to definitely show that off, so I added those with white. And then I sort of made up a structure for the shoulder, because when I painted this, the movie hadn't come out yet, so I didn't have too much reference images to work with. So I decided to create a design that looked mobile, looked like it made sense, and was similar to the design I could see on the Rev-9 robot from the trailer films. But gosh, guys, I'm serious. Go see the film. I love it. I love it so much. I'm a huge Terminator nerd, but I'm also a movie critic, and this one was pretty good. All right, now I am filling in the shoulder with black. So this is creating the little hollow part where there's literally nothing, because the robots, you know, they have hollow pieces and the skin fills in all the bits. Now with white, I am highlighting the face in very selective areas, especially the cheekbones and especially the brow bone. Adding some gray to the arm that will become my blobby metal blade. Filling in the remaining black places on my face. So this is, you know, a nice little cavity we got going on here. Fill that part in with silver. Highlight the edge of your jaw just to make it pop. And then there's sort of like a striped material within the mouth. It's obviously it's metal, but it looked like a striping, so I added that. Now I'm covering my whole arm with the mid-tone. I am going to be creating the melting effect, because when the Rev-9 Terminator is liquefying and turning into a different substance, it looks like melting paint. It looks like melting metal, because that's what it is. And then only the part that it needs to be useful does it look solid, like the sharp blade at the end. So I'm creating the ripples on my arm. Add some teeth. Make sure they get smaller as they go to the back of the mouth, and I'm going to be adding some shadows over them just so they recede as they disappear into the back of the mouth. Outline those teeth with black, add some shading with a mid-tone gray, and I'm going to be creating tiny little highlights on each and every one of the teeth, because the teeth, because I love details. Outline the eye socket and fill it in with black. And I will be wearing a red contact because it's a Terminator. They have the crazy, awesome eye. I am wearing one from Contact Lens Hub. And yeah, I saved my hand for last. I did end up painting my hand so I could do some dramatic Terminator fighting moves, which you're about to see in like 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at that. Oh, snap. Awesome robot. Thank you so much, Skydance Media, for working with me. I loved working with you guys on your contest, and thank you so much for everyone that entered artwork into the Skydance Challenge. It was so cool. I'm so proud of what you guys created. Thank you guys so much for sticking to the end of this. This makeup was so satisfying. I did the Terminator a long time ago before I even started YouTube, and just seeing the growth from that, and if I can find the picture, I'll put it up here for your guys' enjoyment, but to see the growth from that picture to this is really satisfying. Also, a huge thank you to my wonderful Patreon producers. Whoa. Without you guys, I could not make super cool things like this, especially this one, because this one involves silicone. So thank you for funding that, and thank you for being so supportive. I hope you are having a great day, and I will see you in the next video.